Hello everybody, this is a very short tutorial of the read key instruction. Read key is to get input from the keyboard. Let's create a new experiment and we'll call it simple task. Simple task. And I create the experiment. So on the left here, I see my experiments. I click on that. I can enter code here. Now in every experiment, you always have at least one task. A task is basically the description of what happens in a trial. I call it, let's say, for example, my simple task. You need to come up with some sort of like a name for the trial type. In this task, what I do is I show a text on the screen, say press the key B. Now that's the key that people need to to press. Now inside Toolkit experiments, you always need to say what possible keys on the keyboard people can press. So because other keys will be ignored. So you do that with the line keys. And that is just in this experiment, we, for example, have two possible keys. People, in this trial need to press the key B. Now, what you do is, in order to make sure that people press it, you write read key, and then you get two parameters. Parameter one is the correct key, and that's a number, and you want a corresponding number in the list of keys. So if I have B and N, B would be the first key, and then the second key. So you say read key 1. And you give some time, say 30 seconds or 30,000 milliseconds. That's too long, of course. Actually, typically people respond here in less than half a second, but okay. If you do this, PsyToolkit will wait up to 30 seconds and will also record whether people responded correctly or not. Now, what you always want to do if people press a key, that there's some sort of like visual feedback. In this case, I would just remove the stimulus, press the B key B from the screen. So you do clear 1. So if you have these show instructions, they count. So this is the first show. So if you say clear 1, clear the first stimulus that is shown in this trial. And then you can have, like, say, a short delay between trials. Say, let's have a delay of, say, 1,000 milliseconds or 1 second. And then we save the data. Now, if you use read key, you get automatically a variable called RT, which is the reaction time in milliseconds. You get a variable called key, that is the key that was being pressed. It's 1 or 2 in this case, B or N. And finally, you get a status. Status is whether people pressed the correct key, the wrong key, or they had a timeout. Now, if you want to test this out, you need to have a block of trials. Say, let's say we have 5 trials. So you would say block training. You say what task is being used in this block, my simple task. And let's say do it 5 times. If I save this code and then compile and I run the experiment and I click to start, if I do that, you see nothing special happening, but internally I can press the N, for example. If I press another key, like say the A key, nothing happens. It only responds to C, to B or N, because those are the keys that are specified as possible keys in this task. Now you see then to show data, it will actually show you, for each trial, 1 row, milliseconds in response time, the key that was pressed, in this case 1 or 2, and also at status, and it could be 1 or 2. It can actually also be 3, didn't happen, that would be a timeout. Now there's more to say about this. So for example, if you want to make this more interesting, you could create a so-called text variable, say, let's call it my feedback, and in that you concatenate uh, these pieces of information. You pressed key and then space quote and then key and then in and then you say RT uh, milliseconds. If you do this, so you concatenate you pressed key space and then the number of the key and then in and then the reaction time and then milliseconds. Now you that will be all stored in one text variable. Text variables start with the percent sign, and then you can do something like this: show text percent my feedback. Then let's say you have that delay, and then you clear that second stimulus from the screen, because this would be the second stimulus. So you say clear 2. And if we save that, then you can immediately see the data that you responded to. So start the experiment. I press B. You press key 1 in, well, it goes very quick, right? So in, okay, in how many milliseconds? That works fine. Um, and that's how readkey works. So it's a very simple instruction. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a question below the video. Please like and subscribe. These short tutorials, they are there for you so that you can learn how things work inside Toolkit. Um, I hope it helps. If you still have further questions, feel free to send me an email to PsyToolkit@gmail.com. Thank you for watching and see you soon again.